Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something that, let's be honest, can be a real headache for so many people: GST reconciliation. We're going to break down how a really powerful and free government tool can make this whole process way faster, a lot smarter, and so much more accurate. Let's get right into it. Does this scene look a little too familiar? The tax deadline is looming, and bam, you're just buried under a mountain of invoices, spreadsheets, and portal downloads. You're trying to manually check off every single entry, and you've got that nagging voice in the back of your head asking, did I miss something? Is there some tiny mismatch that's going to get me a notice? It's just so stressful and takes up way too much time. But what if there was a much better way? What if you had your very own financial detective on the case, working behind the scenes, finding all the clues, checking all the evidence, and handing you a clean, simple report before you even think about filing? Well, that detective actually exists, and it's called the GSTR-2B Matching Offline Tool. So, what is this tool, really? Simply put, it's a piece of software you run right on your own computer. It has one job and one job only: to take the official GSTR-2B data from the GST portal and compare it line by line against your own purchase records. The whole idea is to catch any and all differences in your input tax credit before you file your returns. You can think of this tool as the ultimate bridge builder between two different worlds. On one side, you've got the official government data, what your suppliers have declared on the GST portal. And on the other side, you've got your reality, your own purchase register. This tool's entire purpose is to make sure those two worlds are perfectly in sync. So how does this detective actually find the facts? Well, it's not just guesswork. It's a super methodical process. The tool runs every single invoice through a really tough 7-point check to make sure everything is spot on. Let's take a look at what it's checking. And this is where you really see how detailed it gets. The tool isn't just glancing at the final amount. No way. It's checking the supplier's GSTIN, the document type, the number, the date, the taxable value, and the total tax. It even breaks down the tax into IGST, CGST, and SGST. That level of detail is exactly what makes it so incredibly powerful. All right, so the tool has done its magic. Now for the most important part: understanding the results. And this isn't just some big, confusing data dump. The tool actually sorts every transaction into these simple, color-coded results that tell you exactly what you need to do next. Let's break them down. First up, the one we all want to see: the exact match. When you see this beautiful green checkmark, you can just relax. It means all 7 of those parameters are 100% identical between the portal data and your records. Your input tax credit on this one is totally safe. You don't have to do a thing. And here's a perfect example of what that looks like. For this invoice, INV-101, you can see the GSTIN, the taxable value, the total tax. Everything lines up perfectly. This is the goal. This is what a clean, reconciled entry looks like. But okay, let's be real, life isn't always that perfect, right? So what happens when something's just a little bit off? That's what we call a partial match. Now the key here is that the most important stuff, like the supplier's GSTN, is correct. But maybe one of the other details is different. The tool flags this not as a huge problem, but just as something that needs a quick look from you. This is a classic example that happens all the time. The GSTR-2B says the invoice number is INV-102, but maybe in your records, you accidentally typed INV-102A. Since all the money, the taxable value, and the tax matches up perfectly, the tool is smart enough to flag this as a likely typo that you can probably fix in just a few seconds. Next up, we have the probable match, and this is where the tool gets really, really clever. It sees that all the financial details, the value, and the taxes are identical, but a really important detail, like the document type, is wrong. For example, maybe your supplier filed it as a debit note, but you recorded it as an invoice. The tool flags this, basically saying, hey, I'm pretty sure these are the same transaction, but you need to double-check this one. Then we get to the big red X, unmatched. This is the result that you need to pay attention to right away. It means that even though some of the basic details might line up, the tax values are significantly different. This is a critical error that directly impacts the input tax credit you can claim, and it's something you have to resolve. Here is another really common one. The tool finds an invoice that your supplier uploaded correctly, so it's right there in your GSTR-2B, but it's nowhere to be found in your own records. This could just mean you forgot to enter it. The tool is essentially flagging a potential ITC claim that you might have completely missed otherwise. And finally, the flip side of that, which happens all the time. You have the invoice, you've put it in your books, but it's not showing up in your GSTR-2B. What does that mean? It means your supplier hasn't filed it yet, and until they do, you are not eligible to claim that ITC. This tool gives you a clean, simple list of exactly which suppliers you need to follow up with. Now, let's talk about a common frustration. In this example, everything matches up perfectly except for the CGST, which is off by just 2 rupees, probably just a rounding difference. In most systems, this tiny little issue would cause the whole transaction to get flagged with a big, scary, unmatched error. But here's the cool part. The tool is smarter than that. It has a great feature that lets you set a tolerance level. You can basically tell it, hey, if the difference is just a few rupees, don't sweat it. It's not worth my time. And just like that, without one simple change, the result completely transforms. By setting a tolerance of just 5 rupees, that same transaction is no longer a critical, unmatched error. Instead, it becomes a partial match. This is huge because it lets you ignore all the noise from tiny rounding issues and focus only on the differences that actually matter. So, let's bring it all together. We've seen how the tool works and the super clear results it gives you. But why does this actually matter for your business? Well, it's all about changing GST compliance from this reactive, painful task into a proactive, smart financial strategy. So, what's the bottom line here? By using this tool, you stop incorrect ITC claims before they can even happen. You make sure you are ready for an audit at any time. You drastically cut down your risk of getting notices and penalties, and you do all of this while saving hours of manual work right on your own computer, totally offline. And that just leaves us with one last thought. After seeing how easily these little errors can creep in and how powerful this tool is at finding them, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much potential input tax credit could your business be leaving on the table right now, just waiting to be found?